Today makes it 28 days to the commencement of the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, and I tell you, all the countries are preparing. They are preparing, of course, their teams for that Mundial, the first of its edition in the Middle East. Like I said earlier, in our previous countdown, I hope you are ready and in the mood for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Here in Nigeria, of course, we are just playing with the tide because there is no signs that the World Cup is kicking off, since the Super Eagles of Nigeria would not be there. But that is not enough to douse our spirit, because, of course, the countdown has really put us in the mood. Kayode Ogundade joins us via video, while James John is in the studio physically with me. Kayode, once again, welcome.
Thank you very much, Femi. It's always a pleasure to be here every day, bringing countdown as we march down to Qatar 2022.
So, how is Qatar today?
Femi, Qatar is cold in some parts and it's hot in some parts. So you can see how I'm dressed now. This is the cold part now. Probably before the end of the program, it will be hot and I will have to take off this jacket.
James Adoridi, you're welcome.
Yeah, Femi, always a pleasure being on the show.
Unfortunately, we have to watch the World Cup from home.
We don't have a choice. As they say, the beat goes on, you know. So that's just it. Nigeria is not there, but at least we have African representatives, and I just hope that they will do the continent proud.
Okay. Kayode, let's get started with Cameroon. Of course, yesterday we talked about Rigobert Song's dressing, but today, of course, we'll be looking at the Indomitable Lions, of course, the team. I remember in Teller 90, of course, they got the major upset in that tournament when they defeated Argentina 1-0. And I remember that striker Omar Biik said he doesn't believe in miracle because of, you know, what he thought was the quality gap between the two sides, and again because of the influence of the late Diego Armando Maradona. But of course, Cameroon, they got one over Argentina in that tournament. But now coming back to the 2022 FIFA World Cup, Cameroon, they are in the same group with Brazil, Switzerland, and of course Serbia. Now, do you think they can get one against Brazil? Of course, we saw what Brazil did to the Blasters of Ghana in that international friendly. Now, coming from the upset that they created in 1990, do you think Rigobert Song and his boys can get one over Tite's side this time?
Femi, I think for me, there are no two situations are the same. But we see similarities in what happened in 1990 and what is happening now. In 1990, at the Nations Cup, Cameroon did very poorly. They didn't even get out of their group. They were in search of a striker. They had to go and call a certain Roger Albert Miller out of retirement to come and help them, even though they had a very good team at that time, that they had to bring in a lot of their players from the 1982 squad to come and play in 1990. And 1, 2, they were playing against the reigning world champions in the first game. And that's where the issue of winning your first game comes into play. They played against Argentina in that game. Although, Femi, let me say something quite quickly. In today's game, Cameroon's performance in that game in 1990 would have earned like 4 or 5 of their players jail terms. They will be in jail now. They will be serving jail terms, because incidentally, I saw a replay of that game about 2-3 days ago. I mean, we live football. We're always talking, watching, and playing football all over. I saw a replay of the game about 2-3 days ago, and I was like, wow. These players should be in jail with these tackles flying all around. That would not be possible in today's in the game, in football today, because of the rules and everything. But then the basics, the principles of football is still the same. If you believe so much in it and you are lucky, because luck plays a part in this, let's not deceive ourselves, even though you have to make your luck sometimes. If you're lucky to get a good result.
But sometimes you have to prepare to even get lucky.
Definitely. That's why I say you have to create, you have to make your luck. If you're able to get a first win, Femi, that is key. I keep talking about a first win. That was what propelled Cameroon in 1990. That first win against Argentina, against the world champions, against a team that had Brazil, that had Diego Armando Maradona, Canigia, and the rest of them. So for me, that's what they should be looking at now. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. It's very, very possible. Do they do it? We have to wait and see. But for me, things do happen, and it's always 90 minutes.
James, I don't know how much you believe in miracle. Omar Biggs, before that game in 1990, like how they made reference, he said he doesn't believe in miracle because if you look at both sides, the line is just parallel. It doesn't meet.
Yeah.
But looking at today, do you think the Cameroon that managed to finish third at the 2021 African Cup of Nations that they hosted can create an upset against this star-studded Brazilian squad?
Well, I know, when you want to compare both teams, you already give it to the Brazilians, because this will be the third time both teams will be meeting at the World Cup. They first met in 1994, which Brazil won 3-0. They met in 2014 when Brazil hosted. I think it ended 4-1 to Brazil. So Cameroon's only victory against Brazil was in the 2003 Confederations Cup in France. The tournament which Marc Vivant Foy died. So Cameroon won 1-0 and through a wonder goal by Samuel Eto'o. So they've made 4 times and Brazil won 3 times. So it shows that Cameroon has that element of surprise. So you cannot rule that out. Find the team for 1990 compared to this one, the gap is very wide. We all know that. But one thing I know about Cameroonian team is their element of surprise. When you push them to the wall, that's when they come at you and as in the way they come like running lion.
Like which are that traits?
Yeah, they find you never can tell. When they played against Algeria in the qualifiers, they lost the first game. They were so pathetic in their first game. But in the second game, you see the way they came all out against Algeria with all the antics and everything. They came all out. They showed that they are truly the indomitable lions. They didn't stop till the last kick of the game. That's the show you team.
I remember how the Algerians
exactly.
So they were already celebrating.
They were already celebrating. They didn't know that you are playing against Cameroon. I mean, they should ask Nigeria about Cameroon. Cameroon denied us 3 AFCON. They denied us the 1990 World Cup ticket. So they've
here at our backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
2000.
So that's one thing about Cameroon at the World Cup. So fine. The odds might be against them, but like I said, Cameroon is a team that you don't just write off. They can just spring surprise and just hurt this Brazilian team that we are all, carrying as if they are going to win the World Cup. So fine. Brazil has the edge. The ranking, speaks for itself. So for me, let's just hope that Cameroon clicks at the World Cup.
Brazil number 1, Cameroon 44.
Fine. The ranking doesn't lie because of their performances and Brazil have done well in the build-up. Cameroon didn't. I think they lost to Japan. They lost to one little team like that. But this is the World Cup, a different ball game. So I just hope that we're going to see the Cameroon that we always know, that team that always fights, that team that doesn't give up, that team that will go all out. They don't care whether they are playing away. I remember in 1986, they got to the final of the AFCON. They only lost to Egypt in the final. They went ahead, they won in 1988. In 1990, they didn't do too well, So for me, it's a team that always brings surprises, and I just hope that this World Cup, they will to re-energize themselves and tap from that spirit of 1990 and, previous team that we always know the Cameroonian team for that. They're always bold and, courageous, and let's just hope that they will to reenact that and let's see what they do against this top side.
If you ask me, I don't think this present crop of Cameroonian players, the Indomitable Lions, have the same spirit that the likes of Samuel Eto'o, Jeremy Njita, Chato, Pierre Wome and the like. I'm not sure they have, but like you said, let's just see what happens at the World Cup. Let's go to Ghana now. A report emanating from Ghana is that Otto Addo will be leaving his position as the coach of the Black Stars after the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Kayode, that leaves me, or that left me with so much thought. Like, if you're going to leave this team that you've labored so much to build, from eliminating Nigeria from going to the World Cup, then now having to go to the World Cup, then leave at the end of the tournament, then what's all the labor for, Kayode?
I mean, there are the good life of a coach is either you leave or you are sacked. So sometimes it is better to walk before you are pushed. So instead of you are waiting to be sacked, why don't you just walk away? And for me, after going to the World Cup, I'm not sure there's any other thing for him to prove. He has shown he has won the World Cup ticket against all odds. So if he leaves at the end of the World Cup, I do not see anything wrong. In fact, for me, I think it's better to leave when the ovation is loudest. We don't know what the World Cup will bring. It's possible he will leave on a high, or Ghanaians will call for his head at the end of the World Cup. Either way, he has made it known that he is leaving at the end of the World Cup. So if I were the Ghanaians, I will start preparing for life after the World Cup. We will start looking for a coach that will take the team forward after the World Cup, because he has served sufficient. Even if they win the World Cup, he has said he's leaving. And if they actually win the World Cup, nobody should beg him to stay, because that would be an anticlimax. I'm not saying they cannot be grateful to him for winning the World Cup, but since he said he's going to leave, they should allow him leave. They plan ahead so that by the time, in fact, I expect them that the last day of Ghana's exit, maybe the last day of the World Cup or the last day of Ghana's exit at the World Cup, a new coach should have been named. That would make for seamless succession. Nobody will be waiting who is going to be the next coach. By now, they should be hunting for a coach that will take over from Addo, since he said he's leaving. But for me, I think he has done the right thing. The honorable thing is for him to tell them, I'm leaving at the end of the World Cup. This guy is not acting like an African, Femi. Everything, I've been very, very impressed with Addo. He's not acting like an African. He knows what he wants and he's going to do it. He has his probably he also has his eyes on what he wants to do in the future after the World Cup. There's life after football.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of European influence must have rubbed off on him. James, let's look at it. Yeah, you know, he's still with Borussia Dortmund. I think he so much fancied that job, because for some people they will have resigned that job, then come to take the national job on the full time. But if you look at it, even the GFA, they had to prepare a special contract for him just to enable him, prepare Ghana for the work. As at that time, even the playoff, I'm sure he didn't have a contract until after they qualified. So they look at the period in which he will be in charge, and they gave him a contract. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for him to come out to say after the World Cup, I mean, I think it goes to show that, he knows what's at stake. He knows that he understands the team, and based on the agreement, says after the World Cup, he's leaving. I mean, he's going to be on record.
Though he's not officially come out to say, but they are saying that he wouldn't exceed the World Cup.
Yeah, so
because of the contract that he has.
Whichever way, one thing we will never take away from is the fact that Otto Addo qualified Ghana for the World Cup. So it means he emulated Kwesi Appiah, he emulated Milovan, and I can't remember the coach who qualified them for the 2006 World Cup. So the records are there.
Maybe Milovan Rajevac will even succeed them again.
Never can say.
He doesn't want to see Milovan Rajevac with the
so for me, he has done well. I mean, the time that he took over the job, after the bad outing at the AFCON, I mean, how many coaches would want to stick their neck out and, and he was under severe pressure and he was able to deliver. And let's just hope that he does well at the World Cup. Who knows, maybe in future he might even come back again, to handle the team. I think I remember Kwesi Appiah came back to handle the team. And so who knows, Otto Addo can still come back. Maybe by then we would have, become a very sound and, because at Dortmund, I think it's just an assistant, So from there, we know that for him to have qualified Ghana before for the World Cup, I mean, you can even, who knows, take them to AFCON glory, which they've never, since 1982, they've never been able to achieve that feat again. So who knows, maybe you'll be the one to come and break that jinx for them this time.
All right. Kayode, James, thank you for coming through on our daily countdown to the 2020 FIFA World Cup. We appreciate you a lot.
Thank you very much.
Watch out tomorrow for another edition of our daily countdown, until the commencement of the 2022 FIFA World Cup. So tomorrow is going to be another fresh. I have to continue to look at preparations of African representatives at that tournament. Until tomorrow, enjoy yourself. Bye for now.